All right, today we're diving into one of history's absolute classic cautionary tales. It's a story that's been told for thousands of years, but it's as relevant as ever. A story about power, pride, and the anatomy of a leader's downfall. We're talking about King Saul. So let's start with a big question, one you've probably thought about before. What is it that actually corrupts a great leader? I mean, really, is it the power itself? Is it some deep-seated insecurity, or something else entirely? Let's keep that question front and center as we get into this. Because Saul, this guy was supposed to be the one. He was handpicked to be the very first king of Israel. Talk about pressure, right? But as we're about to see, he was also destined to become the nation's first great tragic hero. Okay, so to really get how it all went so wrong, we've got to start at the beginning, with his rise to power. It's this classic rags to riches or, shepherd to sovereign kind of story. And his ascent was just meteoric. Seriously. He comes from literally nowhere. A humble shepherd boy. You couldn't pick a more unlikely king. But then, bam, the prophet Samuel anoints him, setting him on this incredible path to greatness. And he doesn't just sit on the throne either. He immediately proves himself as a brilliant military hero, winning huge victories. By all accounts, he was the real deal. And you have to understand, the weight on this guy's shoulders was just immense. He wasn't just some warlord. His job was to take a bunch of scattered tribes and forge them into a single unified nation. And on top of that, he was supposed to start a dynasty that would last for generations. The stakes, they literally could not have been higher. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? With all that power and all that early success, the cracks started to appear. And those little cracks, well, they were the seeds of his own self-destruction. This is the moment everything begins to change. So what was the big mistake? It really boils down to one moment, one single choice between obedience and his own ego. He gets a direct command, a test of faith, really. And what does he do? He decides he knows better. It's a decision driven purely by his own pride. That right there, that was the moment it all started to unravel. He chose his own judgment over divine authority. And man, the prophet Samuel just lays into him for it. His message basically boils down to this powerful idea. True, lasting leadership is not about your personal ambition. It's built on humility and obedience. But Saul just wasn't having it. He started to see Samuel not as a guide, but as a threat to his power. And that defiant choice, well, it was going to have catastrophic consequences. So, once that door of disobedience was open, something else crept in. Paranoia. And oh boy, did that paranoia find a target. The young, charismatic man who was destined to be his successor, another shepherd boy named David. And this wasn't just a little bit of professional jealousy. It spiraled out of control into full-blown tyranny. It starts with fear, this obsession that David is going to take his throne. Then that fear turns into violent action. He actually orders his soldiers to ambush and kill David. When that fails and David just gets more popular, Saul's jealousy becomes completely unhinged, and he tries to kill him again himself. And this is the key point. Saul's inner demons, his insecurity, his fear, they didn't just stay in his head. They bled out into the real world, totally corrupting who he was. The celebrated hero who united a nation had become a dangerous, paranoid tyrant, hunting his most loyal and capable warrior. So this brings us to Saul's ultimate legacy. His story isn't just some ancient drama collecting dust on a shelf. It's a timeless, powerful lesson on the true, devastating price of pride. We call Saul a classic, tragic hero, and that's an important distinction. He's not just a simple villain. He's a great man, a character who has everything it takes to succeed, but he's ultimately brought down by a fatal flaw within himself. For Saul, it was that toxic cocktail of pride, insecurity, and disobedience. So, what are the big lessons for us? Right now? Well, Saul's fall shows us the clear and present danger of unchecked pride. It's a stark reminder of how power, if it's not grounded in humility, can corrupt even the very best leaders. It teaches us about the high cost of disobedience and shows us how insecurity can literally rot a leader from the inside out. And that brings us right back to where we started. Saul's story leaves us with this huge question, one that's just as real for us today as it was 3,000 years ago. Where is that line between healthy, driving ambition and destructive, blinding arrogance? It's a question every single one of us, leader or not, has to ask. Thanks for watching.